All right, tits.
I didn't do it.
What'd you
Well,
do?
You haven't done anything yet, so it would be technically correct.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
No,
Share with us your lore.
my lore?
Deep lore.
I have no lore. I did not put any ranks in lore. I usually don't. They all go to
Spoilers.
etiquette and
You shouldn't. If you, unless,
You shouldn't. Yeah,
you
just do
basically
sage.
shouldn't.
Yeah.
Just take Sage. You don't have to.
Yeah, just take Sage and raise of intelligence.
Nope. No, semi-recently I came across a new RPG because that's what I do. I collect RPGs and don't ever actually get to play them for any extended points of time.
You have a problem.
It's true, and I do not care.
Wow.
No,
I can respect that. I can respect it.
No, this one's actually been out for a little bit. I think it released in 2016, called Masks. It's a Powered by the Apocalypse setting book for superhero stories, and specifically for teen superhero stories like Teen Titans or Young Justice or Teen Avengers or all of those Runaways. You know, those kind of comics.
Yeah.
But so for those that aren't familiar with Powered by the Apocalypse, in and of itself, it's a 2d6. You'll roll 2d6, and then you'll add whatever your relevant stat is. As long as you get a 7 or higher, it's a success. 6 or under is a failure. And then I think from like certain things will be from 7 to 10, you get like a partial success. Depends on what the thing is and the particular.
I believe that is the way the base system works. It's generally like anything that's not. You want essentially above 10. I think it's actually 10 plus is
10 plus is a total
success. And then 7 to 9 is generally like a quasi success. Like you gain what you wanted to do, but like at some consequence or detriment. And then like anything lower than that is just a failure outright.
Right. And then some of them I think like even give you like epic failures or something like that. But
they might. I'm sure because the Apocalypse
does not have that, so it doesn't really. It's not relevant.
Yeah, because the Apocalypse system is used by a few games, I believe.
Yeah, the first one was Apocalypse World, I think.
Yeah.
And then but anyway, then that system was used for other things. So one of the other things that I think is interesting is they don't do classes in the normal kind of way. They have what they call playbooks that give you different options for you to take as you level up, and different, they call them moves, which is essentially what you decide to do. Pretty much any action you decide to do that causes you to roll a die as a move. I think sometimes even if it doesn't make you roll a die. So in Masks, what's kind of interesting is a lot of these moves, because again, you're playing, teen superheroes, they tend to be very RP oriented, very relationship interdynamic oriented, which I thought was kind of cool.
Give me an example.
Let's see. I'm gonna flip open randomly. It's actually be on one of the playbooks. So like for the bull, it has one of the moves. Nope, that's all fighting things. Here we go. When you comfort or support your love or rival, mark a potential on a hit. So potential is your way of leveling up. Whenever you fail a roll in this game, you take potential. What this is saying is if you are specifically trying to comfort or support either your love or your rival, you would also mark support even if you succeed. So it kind of gives you an opportunity to do more of that, RP kind of oriented things.
Yeah, honestly, the inner team dynamic and like your characters, like the social aspect is definitely more of the forefront than being superheroes for these games. This game.
And you very much have to walk into it with that mentality.
Yeah, combat's definitely different than if you're expecting something like D&D.
Yeah. You're not rolling. It's not modeling like Mutants and Masterminds where it's every little bit of power. In this game, as I said, you have the playbooks, which are your quote unquote classes. and those more are focusing on what kind of problems you want your character to be involved with. So you can have like the Beacon, who is like Robin, right? Versus the Nova, that's Raven or Starfire. Both of them can possibly be the Nova. Their power levels are vastly different, but you're going to be rolling the same type of dice roll, and it doesn't fully matter as much because you're looking more at what you're trying to accomplish, not how hard am I punching that thing in the face. Kind of, sort of a little bit in the way that Fate does things, a little bit similar, but a little bit more narrative, I guess, less flatline the way that Fate can be flatline, if that makes sense. I don't know if that makes sense.
Yeah, totally.
But yeah, as Mal said, it's very much the social aspect is in the forefront. So even when you're battling, it's not I'm punching the guy. It's how is this fight trying to de-escalate? Again, like right when you watch Young Justice, you see that it's not just punching and everything. It's I'm attacking in this particular direction to slow him down or to stop him or whatever. But they put a lot more of a focus on that. So if you're walking into this game thinking, "Oh, superheroes," and I'm gonna destroy everything, it's not so much the case.
Yeah.
But if you're wanting to play a game where you're getting to explore, those inner team dynamics, the parts that made Teen Titans so funny, is the quips between Beast Boy and Raven and whatnot. This game very much does a good job of allowing you to do that. With the as I said, the different sorry, I was coughing. I didn't want to cough.
You're
into the
good.
microphone. But the playbooks, as I said, they kind of focus on different problems, and they're also, to a degree, your power sets. Not fully, but for the most part, they are.
They recommend.
Yeah, they have
powers for you to
recommended
use.
ones.
And the book even says like you could theoretically use any power for any book, but they won't necessarily line up with your playbook. Like being able to grow flowers doesn't really work with the bull, who's about all being strong and being able to take a punch and dish it out, sort of a thing.
Yeah. And I mean, like, theoretically, if you can make it work, it works, but it
Right.
There are things that make more sense. So in the core, because I know that there's some additional books that have come out that have introduced additional playbooks, but in the core it has 10 of them. You have the Beacon, which is essentially the character, he just wants to be on the team, doesn't exactly outwardly show that he has any superpowers. He, again, that's kind of to a degree a little bit Robin, and you'll find that a lot of characters can fit multiple playbooks. But they're just really happy to be there. They're low powered, but they just want to be on the team.
In under abilities it even talks about how you have like no powers or very minor powers.
Yeah, martial arts is kind of the focus for them. The Bull, as we said, is the kind of the gruff, tough, Wolverine, Colossus. They're the guys that take a lot of damage and dish it out. But their kind of core problem is that they have one character that you choose to be your love and one to be your rival. And so it's kind of this balancing act. Like if you take Wolverine, his rival would have been Cyclops, and his love interest Jean Grey, with that whole love triangle between them.
Yeah,
so that kind of you have the Delinquent, who is just the troublemaker and attention seeker. He's just that rebel kind of type character. The Doomed, who is the cursed to ultimately lose themselves to some terrible fate. They again, Raven fits this one fairly well. They have these doom signs that slowly count down, and you can actually like lose your character depending on what advancement track you. It's kinda cool,
eventually, if you don't take the if you don't take the thing that lets you retire or change your playbook, you eventually die when your doom track fills up too many times.
Yep. You have the Janus, who is this one's focusing more on the duality of being a superhero and a normal person. This is your
Basically
Spider-Man.
every spider
Yeah.
character.
Yeah, this is your Spider-Man, your Blue Beetle, right? Like it's I gotta go to school, I gotta finish my test. Oh, there's a monster attacking, but it's the finals. What do I do? You know, that's gonna be the problems that the Janus is gonna face. You even have to like take a side job and choose a few things like that will come into play.
Yeah, they have a whole special secret identity section of their rules.
Yep. You have the Legacy, who is essentially the latest in a family of heroes, and that can be either a family in the sense of actual lineage, or it can be family as in they're inheriting a title. So,
Also, so like Spider-Man or a Robin kind of thing.
Yeah, Robin could be
based on the comment, the costume and abilities. It's very like I think Shazam is very much the original
Shazam. Any of the Green Lanterns can kind of fall under it. Because they're
I believe under it's like heroes to look to for this type thing. It's like every Green Lantern.
Yeah.
The thing.
And then the Nova, they're the overpowered character, right? Like they're the ones that have extreme powers, but they have to kind of keep them in check, or otherwise they'll, lose control. So again, Starfire and
Jean Grey,
Raven, Jean Grey. To a degree, you could even say Rogue. These are the characters, that like, with great power comes great responsibility, and I need to keep myself in check, or else I'm going to kill everybody. Type character. Then you have the Outsider, who is essentially alien, or could even be Atlantean in the case of Aqualad. But they're essentially removed from the normal human experience, and so they're kind of like learning how to be a human while also being a superhero. You have the Protege, who is a lot of their stuff is focused on their interactions between them and their mentor, which again, Robin falls under the Protege pretty well. A lot of characters, that kind of
Superboy,
right? Aqualad, young Kid Flash.
A lot of those don't really fit into the Protege as the Protege works, because the Protege's mentor is a big part of it.
Okay.
And Batman is not a big part of Teen Titans.
Well, no, but I mean, like, as the character themselves, Robin is concerned. When Robin from Young Justice is way more concerned about the way Batman looks at him than the Robin from Young Justice. Or, Teen Titans, excuse me. I guess. I don't know, Robin is one that they list for the Protege, so...
Yeah, it's just, like, a lot of their moves call back to their mentor, and I don't know, I guess I'm trying to think of a character who you actually see a lot of mentor talk in these team ones, I guess, as opposed to like solo runs of the story. And I can't really think of any off the top of my head.
Yeah, I'm just thinking mostly Batman from Young Justice. He kind of becomes their handler, and so
yeah, this is up some.
Yeah,
a lot more than
I guess like Batgirl would count, maybe.
Yeah. Batgirl could be a protege, because it also, right, like it even though this is for the teams, you can look outside of the team comics in and of themselves too. So, and then you have the final one is the Transformed. So this is somebody who like has like a monstrous appearance. Beast from X-Men, looking on the villain side of things, Toad from X-Men. There's just those kind of characters who their powers have caused them to no longer look human, and so they are shunned. The Thing, those kind of characters. So those are the 10 main playbooks, and those are kind of the some of the issues that each one kind of picks up. And again, like as you saw, like Robin could fit into multiple ones. So it more depends on. These playbooks are more looking at the issues that you're interested in exploring with your character more than it is your power set and your abilities. I mean, it is to a degree, as we said, but it's more about what kind of issues
it's not
with those.
It's not the primary aspect you're looking at.
Right.
It's like, I want to use these powers, so I will play this playbook. It's not where you go in. It's not how you approach it.
Right. The other major thing about your characters, you have what are called labels. These are a combination of how you view yourself and how the world views you. And they're tied innately to influence. So again, you're playing teenagers, so you're kind of exploring and finding your place in the world. So one of the core mechanics is who has influence over you and who do you have influence over. And so as that influence changes, you can affect people's labels based off of, again, like if somebody has influence over you, you're more likely to listen to them, so they can do things that might shift your labels around. And the labels are your main stat, characteristic, ability point, whatever you want to call it. And this is what you add to your 2d6 when you roll. It'll, your different abilities will tell you roll 2d6 plus danger, and then you would add your danger or whatever. And those 5 labels are danger, is, how dangerous do people view you? Freak, are you, freak of nature or whatever? Savior, superior, do people think that you're kind of full of yourself and better than everybody? And mundane. So the higher you're mundane, the easier it is for you to, like, not be noticed and to slip past things, or to talk to people on a one-to-one normal human being level because you're mundane. So again, you would roll, and it would tell you, say, roll 2d6 plus danger. You look at your danger value, and it's from -2 to +3. So you then would add whatever your modifier is and look at the result. So the different playbooks will specialize on different labels too. So like the transformed, their labels that they're really worried about are freaking danger, whereas the beacon, mundane and savior, are for them because they don't really have much power, so they're just kind of the normal human on the team type deal. So
Yeah.
yeah, it's an interesting little system. It's different, and it does take a different mental approach when you're playing it, and I think that that's kind of a core thing with Powered by the Apocalypse games in general. I've noticed the few that I've read, they tend to focus more towards the social RP dynamic,
They
and
do.
give mechanics towards that.
The
like
system,
combat.
yeah,
Combat is there's no initiative, there's no turn order. Someone could take a bunch of turns in a
Yep.
yeah, it really is focused on the social construct that revolves around these things as opposed to the more physical one.
Which, as much as the game seems to revolve around that, the issue I have is with the playbooks is there's like it feels like it would be weird to play the game multiple times because every beacon or whatever is going to have the same sort of social stuff. Like every beacon is going to have the same thing with like, their team moves. Their team moves is like whenever you share a triumph with someone, tell them how they're awesome and add a team to the pool. And if they tell you you're awesome in return, you add the team to the pool or whatever. So it's like every beacon all the time, always
After
is going
every
to be
fight.
telling people that they're awesome and hoping someone says it back, and then also sharing a vulnerability or weakness. If they confirm or deny that you should be here, do a thing. So you're always going to be asking people if you should be there. And then they also have this list of like 20 different things that they check off. And eventually, if you check off all 20, you can change playbooks, retire, or become a paragon of the city. And so it's like every beacon is going to like be making out with a teammate, breaking up with someone, punching someone they shouldn't, and stuff like that. So it's like, I don't know. So I feel like they should be maybe more ambiguous with some of those things.
Yeah.
Instead of forcing the social aspect that they want to focus on so much.
That's true.
Yeah. Maybe like in the case of punching somebody, maybe just doing something better than to do or something.
Yeah, I don't know.
I don't know. I enjoyed the short bit we played.
Yeah.
But
I would definitely play it. I just don't know if I would play multiple campaigns of it.
Yeah. It's one that I feel like you can get one really good campaign and play out of it, but I think when a lot of people are looking at getting into superhero games, they're wanting champions, they're wanting mutants and masterminds. Masks is more geared towards somebody, or, a group of that are looking more for the interpersonal problems, and how you overcome those type of things.
Seems like a good con game, probably.
Yeah.
If you're like a GM that likes to run it for people who like just have never played it before. Because like you guys were saying, it would probably get like a bit tiring as a player to do it multiple times, just because everyone's trying to. You're basically going to be telling the same story over and over again, I guess, in a certain way.
Right, but I mean, too, if you think about almost all superhero cartoons, right? Like, every episode's the same, and even to a degree, every episode across all of the cartoons are more or less the same, formula. It's just what fine minutia makes it different. So
sure.
Yeah, and that's kind of the same thing here. But it's when you have the same group of people tend to default to different things, and that's fine. It's just I think that it'd be fun. You could replay it if you change kind of your groups. I feel like it makes the replayability better a little bit.
Yeah.
Yeah, definitely.
Honestly, I think it's the team moves being exactly the same that's the biggest problem for me.
Right.
Like, they're just so specific, and there's something that you want to be doing after anytime you have the opportunity to trigger them, you want to be doing it.
Also, excuse me, I have a phone call coming in that I have to take. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
That's fine.
Finish it off.
I missed it, but that was pretty much it.
All right, cool.
I'm gonna step away. I missed the phone, so I gotta call them back. So I'm actually gonna bounce on out. So
all right.
Catch you later, maybe eventually. Bye forever.
Never heard from him again.
Goodbye, Tets. He went off.
Never hear from him again. We'll miss
Except
him.
I see him every day at work.